Hello and welcome to Chaos Theory, the news as seen by AI. I'm your host, Beatrix Kiddo, and it's December 10th, 2024. Today we have a packed show for you as we dive into the latest technological advancements and scientific discoveries. First up, we'll be exploring the world of delivery drones, as Amazon completes its first successful delivery by drone in Italy. But that's not all. We'll also be looking at a giant study that links drinking coffee with almost 2 extra years of life. So grab a cup of joe and get ready to live longer. Next, we'll be discussing the recent developments in the world of social media as TikTok fails to save itself with the First Amendment. And speaking of technology, we'll also be delving into Google's breakthrough weather prediction model and what it means for the future of meteorology. But it's not all about tech. We'll also be exploring the fascinating world of animal behavior as we investigate why animals adopt. And finally, we'll be delving into the mysteries of the human brain as we discover that you're born with most of your neurons, but the brain makes some mysterious new ones in adulthood. So join us as we explore the chaotic and unpredictable world of news as seen through the eyes of AI. It's going to be a wild ride, so buckle up and let's get started. Amazon has completed its first drone flight test in Italy, as reported by Umar Shakir. The test used the company's MK-30 drone, which can carry up to 5 pounds of packages and is licensed to operate beyond visual line of sight in the U.S. Italian regulators ENAC and ENAV authorized the test in San Salvo. Amazon announced last year that it plans to expand to Italy and the UK in 2024. And the company aims to launch its Prime Air delivery service commercially in Italy in 2025, pending regulatory approval. In the U.S., Amazon's drone deliveries are already operating in College Station, Texas, and Phoenix, Arizona, with plans to expand to more areas next year. Britain has also selected 6 drone testing projects, including Amazon, but there is no word on when testing will take place. A new study suggests that drinking coffee may lead to a longer and healthier life. Researchers from the University of Coimbra in Portugal analyzed 85 previous studies involving participants from Europe, the Americas, Australia, and Asia, and found that drinking around 3 cups of coffee a day is linked with an additional 1.84 years of lifespan in the average person. Regular coffee consumption was also associated with increased health span, or time spent living free from serious disease. The study found that coffee consumption was linked to a preservation of muscular, cardiovascular, mental, and immune system functions, and was inversely associated with the incidence of the most frequent diseases affecting the elderly, such as cardiovascular and respiratory diseases, stroke, some cancers, diabetes, dementia, major depression, or frailty. It's important to note that many of these studies involved self-reported coffee consumption, and the research was funded by the Institute for Scientific Information of Coffee, a nonprofit organization supported by major international coffee companies. This also doesn't prove a direct cause and effect link. There are too many other factors potentially involved to say coffee and caffeine are solely responsible for a longer life and better health. However, these statistics do fit in with previous research showing how coffee can potentially protect against heart disease, offset the negative effects of sitting, and add years to your life. The research was reported by David Neild and published in Aging Research Reviews. A panel of judges has ruled that a law banning TikTok in the U.S. does not violate the Constitution, according to a story reported by Lauren Feiner. The decision was unanimous and forceful, suggesting that TikTok could be forced out of the U.S. unless its Chinese parent company, ByteDance, sells it off by January 19th. TikTok has indicated that it will take its fight to the Supreme Court, but faces an uphill legal battle. The court dismissed TikTok's claims that the government unlawfully singled out the company and violated its First and Fifth Amendment rights, concluding that any harm to TikTok and its users was outweighed by national security concerns. The government argues that a Chinese parent company puts TikTok's US-based users at risk, as the Chinese government could access Americans' data and make TikTok covertly manipulate its recommendation algorithm. The court agreed with TikTok that this is a First Amendment issue, but rejected government claims that TikTok's foreign ownership should strip it of speech protections. Some online speech advocates say the ruling sets a risky precedent, particularly if it leads to a TikTok ban instead of a sale. Isaac Schultz from Gizmodo reported that Google's DeepMind team has released a new weather prediction model called GenCast, which outperforms traditional models in predicting extreme weather, tropical storm movement, and wind gusts. GenCast is a diffusion model, like those used in AI tools such as Midjourney, DALL-E 3, and Stable Diffusion, but it is adapted to the spherical geometry of the Earth. Instead of a written prompt, GenCast uses the most recent state of the weather to generate a probability distribution of future weather scenarios. Traditional weather prediction models like ENS, the leading model from the European Center for Medium-Range Weather Forecasts, make their forecasts by solving physics equations. However, GenCast is not limited to learning dynamics and patterns that are known exactly and can be written down in an equation. Instead, it learns more complex relationships and dynamics directly from the data, allowing it to outperform traditional models. Google has been working on weather prediction for a while, and in recent years, DeepMind scientists have made substantive steps towards more precise forecasting using AI methods. Last year, they released GraphCast, a machine learning-based method that outperformed current medium-range weather prediction models on 90% of the targets used in testing. Just 5 months ago, a team mostly consisting of DeepMind researchers published neurogenesis, a hybrid weather prediction model that combined a traditional physics-based weather predictor with machine learning components. The team trained GenCast on historical weather data through 2018 and then tested the model's ability to predict weather patterns in 2019. GenCast outperformed ENS on 97.2% of targets using different weather variables, with varying lead times before the weather event. With lead times greater than 36 hours, GenCast was more accurate than ENS on 99.8% of targets. The team also tested GenCast's ability to forecast the track of a tropical cyclone, specifically Typhoon Hagibis, the costliest tropical cyclone of 2019, which hit Japan that October. GenCast's predictions were highly uncertain, with 7 days of lead time, but became more accurate at shorter lead times. The DeepMind team has made the GenCast code open source and the models available for non-commercial use, and they are working on releasing an archive of historical and current weather forecasts. The models are starting to power user experiences on Google Search and Maps, and the team is fine-tuning versions of GenCast to be able to take operational inputs, so the model could start to be incorporated in operational settings. There is not yet a timeline on when GenCast and other models will be operational. As extreme weather generates wetter, heavier rainfall, and hurricanes break records for how quickly they intensify and how early in the season they form, accurate prediction of storm paths will be crucial in mitigating their fiscal and human costs. In a proof-of-principle experiment, the DeepMind team found that GenCast was more accurate than ENS in predicting the total wind power generated by groups of over 5,000 wind farms in the Global Power Plant database. GenCast's predictions were about 20% better than ENS's, with lead times of 2 days or less, and retained statistically significant improvements up to a week. In other words, the model does not just have value in mitigating disaster. It could inform where and how we deploy energy infrastructure. Whether you're here for the weather or the AI applications, there's plenty to like about GenCast and the broader suite of DeepMind forecasting models. The accuracy of such tools will be paramount for predicting extreme weather events with enough lead time to protect those in harm's way, be it from floods in Appalachia or tornadoes in Florida. In a remarkable incident in the Gir forest of western India, a lioness was spotted nursing a leopard cub along with her own lion cubs. The unusual adoption was observed for 45 days until the leopard cub was found dead due to a birth defect. The incident has left behavioral ecologist Stotra Chakrabarty completely stumped, as such adoptions are rare and evolutionarily paradoxical. While adoption is known in human societies, it is also documented across the animal kingdom, including sea otters, elephant seals, gulls, dolphins, elephants, cheetahs, penguins, storks, African wild dogs, and primates. Most animal adoptions occur within species and within extended family groups, but sometimes the connections are more nebulous. The Gir forest lioness's adoption of a leopard cub is an example of a cross-species adoption, which is hard to square with classic evolutionary theory. However, such adoptions may illuminate the underpinnings of a sensibility common to humans and other animals. Reported by Sarah DeWeert for Nautilus. A new study has found that the birth of new neurons in the adult brain is linked to improved cognitive function, specifically in verbal learning. The study, reported by Aswathi Amothamkandi, looked at patients with drug-resistant epilepsy and found that those with more new neurons had better verbal learning abilities. This is surprising, as previous research in mice had shown that new neurons were primarily involved in spatial learning. The study highlights the importance of studying biological functions like neurogenesis in humans, as they may function differently than in animal models. The findings also suggest that enhancing new neuron generation could be a potential strategy for improving brain health and restoring cognition in aging and in people with neurological disorders. However, any future treatments based on this research are still a long way off. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Chaos Theory, the news as seen by AI. I'm Beatrix Kiddo, your host, and I hope you found today's news summary informative and thought-provoking. Remember to always fact-check AI-based news summaries before sharing them. On this day in history, in 1901, the first Nobel Prizes were awarded. Be sure to join us again tomorrow for more news. And don't forget to subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. Have a great day.